At 5:30, I'll call the meeting to order. If everybody can join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, everyone who's here. Thank you for anyone who's joining us online for our Kendall School Board business meeting. First up tonight is special recognition for National Principals Month. So, Mr. Hanson, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. At the will board, I'd like to read the proclamation for this event for principals. So, State of Washington proclamation. Whereas principals and assistant principals create hope for each and every student in their buildings by leading culture, systems, and learning, and by working tirelessly each day as visionaries, community builders, public relation experts, budget analysts, facility managers, special programs, administrators, and guardians of various legal, contractual, and policy mandates and initiatives. And whereas principals and assistant principals work collaboratively with families, teachers, and district officials to help mission statements, set performance goals and objectives for schools, and achieve educational excellence, provide safe and caring learning environments, and maintain high curriculum standards and expectations for all students. And whereas Washington State, along with the Association of Washington School Principals, honors exemplary principals and assistant principals. By the way, we had one last year, Dr. James West, assistant principal at Cascade, who have succeeded in providing high quality learning opportunities for students, as well as their exemplary contributions to the profession. And whereas the Washington State Senate has declared the month of October 2025 as National Principals Month, in coordination with the efforts of the National Association of Elementary School Principals and the National Association of Secondary School Principals, working with the U.S. Congress to designate National Principals Month and resolutions thereof. And whereas we recognize the contributions of all school principals and assistant principals to the success of Washington students, our most vulnerable resource, and encourage residents of Washington to observe Principals Month with appropriate ceremonies and activities that promote awareness of the importance of school leadership in ensuring every child has access to high quality education. Therefore, I, Bob Ferguson, Governor of the State of Washington, do hereby proclaim October 25 as Principals Month in Washington and urge all people in our state to honor the service of all elementary, middle, and high school principals and assistant principals. Signed 24 September 2025.
Great. Thank you. Moving along, we will now move into communication from parents, staff, and district residents. I'll look to see if we have any online. No online commenters. Okay. The Kendall School District Board of Directors appreciates hearing from the community. This time is reserved for the board to listen to comments, input, and information. When the board president calls your name, please come to the podium at the front of the room. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. A stoplight on the screen will let you know when to begin, when you have 1 minute remaining, and when your time has ended. Please note, the board will not be able to respond to comments provided. As appropriate, the board may ask the superintendent to review any issues raised. Also note, the board does not take public comments on issues related to personnel or individually named staff members at board meetings. However, you can email the board with such comments. Thank you for taking your time to be here this evening. First up, Marianne Bloxam.
I kind of sit in all the above as far as who can comment. So I'm here tonight to share a view of my daughter, a former Southridge student and graduate. She shared with me this a month ago, and this is a view I've yet to hear. She currently lives in Provo, just a few miles from UVU. She called me an hour before the shooting at the college took place. I heard the sirens going right by her apartment. The shooter had not yet been caught. She was scared, locked her front and bedroom door, and we spoke until things quieted a bit. A few days later, our conversation was about the damage and pain and fear that was done to the students and how lucky she was she did not go. And witnessed this horrifying murder. She said that what the people that are celebrating are happy this happened seem to have forgotten is this was a school shooting. She said that these people that went had this image, not 30 people, not hundreds, but thousands witnessed this, an image and panic that are forever ingrained in their head. The damage from the school shooting go far beyond the physical loss of life. It leaves behind students who will forever remember the sounds, fear, and chaos. In the wake of such pain, our community should be united in mourning, compassion, and shared determination to protect our students. That is why it is so troubling to see teachers post on Facebook expressing any type of joy from this. Yes, people have a right to free speech, but when you work for a school district, you also have a professional and moral duty to uphold the values of decency, empathy, and respect. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences, especially when your words harm the very community you serve. Teachers and all staff are role models. They are held to a higher standard because they shape the hearts and minds of the next generation. When a teacher voices any joy in a murder, especially one connected in a school shooting, it sends a horrifying message to the community that hate and violence can somehow be justified. That is not who we are, and that is not what our schools stand for. This is the moment that should not divide us by politics. It should unite us in principle. No one, regardless of their belief, deserves to be killed, and no teacher should ever express joy over such loss. I, along with many others, take this matter seriously. Remember that protecting our students also means protecting the very values we teach them every day. Let's ensure our educators reflect the compassion and respect that every child and member of this community deserves to see.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Next up, we have Rachel Osler.
Hello, thank you for your time. I'm just coming to speak as a staff member tonight of Amistad Elementary. Very proud to work there, very proud to serve our community there. And I wanted to thank the school district for allowing us to have 3 administrators this year. It really makes a difference to serve our students with the correct numbers proportionately, as we have one of the highest student counts in the district at the elementary level. So I just wanted to thank you and really appreciate that we have 3 administrators this year, and we hope to see that forever. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next up, David Comstock.
Good evening. I'm here to speak on behalf of the citizens of Benton County. We have a responsibility to our people, and it's your responsibility to uphold those standards. The First Lady spoke very eloquently about the exact thing that I wanted to speak with. We do have free speech, but free speech has consequences, and poor decisions have consequences too. So I'd like each of you to keep this in mind when you're making decisions in regard to our people and our students. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dave. That's all we have for public comment tonight. So we will move right along to board member and student rep report. So we will start with Diego.
Good evening, members of the board. It's good to see you guys again. Last week, I was able to attend the SAC meeting, which is the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. We were able to agree on a mission and vision as we were developing ourselves to get the year started. So our current mission is set to provide student voice on KSD policies to improve student experiences. And the vision is set at we will be collaborative, open-minded, and represent all student voices. And we also started setting some collective commitments and some goals, and I will update you guys at our next meeting. And I believe we will meet with the students before then, if I'm not mistaken. We were also presented to by Nutrition Services. They provided our lunch, and they provided us with a list of questions that students can take back to the high schools and ask other students, and we'll make sure to email Nutrition Services back on feedback. And we ended off our meeting talking about the Kamaikan situation, and we allowed the Kamaikan students to share how they felt being the most affected by that. One of the students I spoke to prior to the meeting was telling me that Kamaikan students, as the environment of Kamaikan, some were not taking it seriously and some were joking around about the situation. And others shared that there was a lot of people not coming to school. Last week on Thursday, I attended the Career and College Resource Fair at Kamaikan, and I saw Emily McLaughlin, our district's social media content manager. So a shout out to the communications department. And there was actually a second rumor made on Thursday, which was later found out to be a false rumor. And I talked to Kamaikan attendance. They reported that 300 to 400 students did not attend on Thursday due to that second threat. But one of the students I spoke to at Kamaikan that same day told me that they felt better having seen a KPD cruiser out front of Kamaikan. So I wanted to share that with the board, that students are feeling better when they see that KPD is there. Last week on Thursday as well, I attended the IMC meeting. So that's the Instructional Materials Committee. That was our first meeting of the year. We welcomed new members and are still currently looking for 2 elementary teachers and 1 high school teacher, if I'm not mistaken. So if anyone in those 2 categories is interested in participating in our instructional materials process, we invite you all to email Alyssa St. Hilaire with any questions. And I reviewed 2 materials. One passed, which you will see in the consent items, and that was Intro to Teaching. And then Mind Gym was tabled for our next meeting for some further review. And then last night I was able to attend the PAC meeting, which is the Parent Advisory Council or Committee, one of those 2, with our migrant team. So a shout out to our migrant team and our Learning Supports and Programs Department. There were some community resources there, as well as a guest immigration lawyer talking about updates to immigration for our migrant families, specifically our refugee families and asylum-seeking families. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you.
Can we put Diego on the payroll?
Yeah, of course. You guys everywhere. Thank you, Diego. All right, jump down there. Mr. Connors?
Real quickly, I'd like to thank everyone who attended the open house last night. And Hanson, Chief Guerrero, I thought all did a good job explaining, hopefully giving the community a sense of, I think, understanding about how things went. I thought it was very good, very well attended, and I really appreciate the effort that everyone attended. On a lighter note, I want to thank Nutritional Services. Of all the things I read in the paper every week is the food safety reports. I love the fact that I see our high schools and our elementary schools getting perfect scores when they're inspected by the Department of Health. So congratulations and keep up the good work. That's really hard to do. So I really appreciate the fact that they continue to get great marks.
Thank you. Dr. Miller?
Yeah, I'd echo Mr. Connor's comments about the event last night. I thought it went very well. I appreciated our superintendent being there, as well as the Officer Guerrero and the prosecutor. I think it helped to, hopefully it helped to provide information to the community, not just about the details of that specific event, but also, more generally speaking, safety for our students, and also how information is dispersed and when and how much can be dispersed. I think in a lot of the emails that we got, sometimes some of the questions revolved around why don't we give out more information, or why don't we say more, or why did some of the media sources come out with more information. And I thought it was very clearly explained that we're often very limited in what we can share in order to make sure that the prosecution and the investigation goes on unimpeded, and we don't interfere with the potential prosecution by putting out too much information. So we have to be very careful. And I thought it was very, very helpful in explaining that to the community, because I think it's important that we understand that we try to provide as much information as possible, but we follow the counsel and advice from the police department in sharing that to make sure we don't interfere with their investigation. But all told, a great event, a great activity. Went to a number of different sporting events and a couple other activities, but it's been a good week.
Gledhill?
Hey, yes. Sorry, I should have had my thing pulled up already. Okay, so last week had a chance to go and do a school visit to Desert Hills Middle School along with Mr. Hansen. That was a great visit. That's our home school, so it was nice for me to, I always look at it from both a school board perspective and a parent perspective. Got a chance to go into my daughter's classroom and see what she was learning, so that's always enjoyable. But Desert Hills is a great school. They've got a lot of great things going on there. And again, it was just really nice to be there along with the superintendent to see things how he sees things. So very instructional for me. I did attend the Career and College Fair at Kennewick High School. That was the first time I've been able to make it to one of our career and college fairs, and it was impressive. I took particular interest in going and speaking to those that were there representing either trade schools or that were representing just trades where you could go and start apprenticeships. A lot of offerings there, of course, along with the career and college specialists would like to see that part of it not improved. It's already great, but we would like to see more of the trades there as well. There were lots and lots of colleges represented. So our team, along with the other districts, I didn't realize this, that they work in partnership together, which really makes it very pleasing or appealing to the colleges and trades to come and to work our career fair. So that was great, a great event for each of our high schools. Did a school visit yesterday, again with Mr. Hansen, to Amon Creek, another great school. It was a great visit to be able to just be reminded of the programs that they have there, and just to learn how we can support the school and what their goals are. I did attend the Safety Summit last night. Really grateful to Mr. Hansen for putting that on and for also bringing Chief Guerrero and then Eric Eisenberg along as well. I felt like the three of them together were, did I say it? Yeah. Eisinger, sorry. The three of them together were able to answer all of the questions that were asked. I did at the end of the night feel like I really wanted to understand more about what parents and teachers really wanted. I didn't feel like there was a great opportunity for that in that venue. I know the district is working on collecting that information, but that's my home high school. And so I did know and recognize many of the parents and teachers that were there last night. So I have been reaching out to them individually today and just asking them to say, hey, what did you think about last night? And what suggestions and ideas do you have? So I'm starting to collect those independently and look for patterns, and I'm anxious to get involved with discussions with the district safety committee or however it is that we're moving forward with this. It's in the forefront of my mind, and am doing what I can to make sure that I'm gathering as much information as I can. Also, the Tri-City Herald has done a great job of covering the Kamiakin situation. There's some articles that are very detailed. I do feel, however, that the part of the story that's not being highlighted yet, and I'm working on this, is the fact that our community avoided a terrible tragedy because two teenage boys in Florida came across something and said something. And the outcome could have been very, very different had that not happened. And I really want to see that story told, because our middle school and high school students need to understand, all middle school and high school students across the country need to understand that they are seeing things every day and they need to take things seriously and pass it on. So I've been reaching out to some news outlets, finally starting to see some success. I'm really hoping that I can help get that story going. But if anybody in the room tonight or listening online or reading the notes later has any sort of connection to news outlets, this is a story that needs to be told. So let's start working on that. I think that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Valentine.
Okay. Diego, was that food good from our nutrition services?
It was very good, actually.
Yeah. So, as you know, we have a clean food initiative going on right now. We're trying to clean up all the food in our district and get all the food dyes and seed oils and everything out. And I can tell you, our nutrition staff is awesome. We've got one in the very back. I'll try to embarrass her, but they're really, really great. And I want everybody to know, like, our lunches are good. I mean, we do have some processed stuff in there still that it's slowly moving out, because if you just take like chicken sandwiches out, then kids revolt, freak out, you know. But we also have like full breasts, you know, and chicken drumsticks and all kinds of things. So anyway, we are working towards that. But the food is very, very good. And the next kind of step we have is breakfast. As you know, we do serve breakfast, but most kids do not show up early enough to eat the breakfast. So what happens is they have second chance breakfast. So they essentially take like a sack into their class, and it's got like a milk and a bar and maybe a piece of fruit. And so we're working on looking at different types of bars to see what we can do to make it just a little bit healthier and take some of those seed oils out and stuff like that. So, and sugar. So we're working on that. It's just hard because Washington State has all these like really ridiculous rules that are backwards in their food pyramid and everything. It just doesn't make any sense. Like they're insisting that we are less healthy. It's crazy. But so yeah, so our food's great. Our people are great. Okay. Some of the things that happened this week are, I just want to talk a little about that the community safety meeting at Kamiakin as well. Yes, it was very well attended. We had April Connors, we had Matt Binky, we had Eric Eisinger, who's a prosecuting attorney, Chief Guerrero, the whole board was there, a number of people, teachers, and significant people from the community. So it was very, very good. I thought that the information was good. A couple things that maybe I wish that would have been said more are kind of like what Brittany says, is at the end of the day, we caught the kid, right? So it didn't happen. And that needs to be applauded. I mean, these officers they get these leads, a lot of leads, right? And 99% of them are just dead ends. So they're running down these rabbit holes all the time, and then they go down one rabbit hole and it's true, and then they catch the kid, right? And so like, man, like the dedication to look at every single lead and drive it down to the very end is really commendable. So, and I don't want that to get lost. Like we did caught it, and also our safety officers are fantastic. I mean, another thing that wasn't said really like robustly is that we actually use our schools to do trainings, and the officers are in our schools running scenarios out, like a man down in this hallway, what's happening, and the cops are running through, and they're clearing hallways and clearing rooms, and they have got, you know, I mean, I've even been part of that when I, you know, like getting shot or whatever. But it's like it's really, really cool. And so these officers, they know our schools, they know the layouts of our schools, they have intimate knowledge of them. We have direct communication from officers to the police. I mean, it's a very good system. So, you know, I'm never going to say nothing's going to happen, but I do feel very confident that our kids are safe and that we are really looking into that. Had a number of community meetings, League Women's Voter Debate, went to the Chamber of Commerce Elected Leader Summit, and met with some community members here, and some other meetings. But so I just wanted to maybe mention that. So it's been a very busy and active week. But our nutrition services are great. Our safety officers are great. I'm really thankful for the work that they put in. And our teachers are great. We have a great district, and so thank you for everybody that puts so much time in. And by the way, teachers, Diego mentioned he needed a couple, so. All right, okay, I yield.
All right, so everybody's talked about the safety summit, so I'm not going to dive into that. And I know Mr. Hansen probably has some things on that, but I just appreciate everybody who showed up for that. I thought it was a good event, a lot of good information. Obviously, lots of calls, lots of discussion with Mr. Hansen over the last 2 weeks. And then just to add on to Ms. Gledhill, so I will tell you, I have personally spoken with Eric Rosane at the Tri-City Herald and told him that story needs to be told. And he said, yes, I agree with you. So if you need his information to get the ball rolling, then let's do that. But I think that's a big piece to it as well. So thank you to those young men in Florida who saw something and said something. So, all right, moving along to consent items. I will take a motion to approve the consent items.
Accept the consent items as presented.
Thank you, Mike. Patty, the roll call vote.
Mr. Connors,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Gledhill,
Yes.
Mr. Valentine,
Yes.
and Mr. Galbraith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. We have no unfinished business, so we will be moving on to new business. First up is our WASDA legislative priorities, and I will kick that off and invite Ms. Gledhill
I was afraid you were going to say that.
to share any updates from that.
I'm scrambling to find the spreadsheet right now.
Okay, so maybe I'll start. So
Yeah.
just for folks to know, so WASDA is one of the places that as school board directors, we can advocate for legislative priorities and such, that they'll advocate for the larger group of school board directors. And so we look through it. We do a general assembly where representative goes and votes on all these priorities and stuff for WASDA. And then once that's done, then WASDA asks us for our legislative priorities. So they'll gather them from all the districts, and then they'll put together collectively the priorities of the school districts across the state. And so we're in that process now. And so that's what we were asked by Ms. Gledhill, was to go in and kind of select our 10 priorities essentially that we can submit to WASDA. So
Just maybe for those that don't know, WASDA stands for the Washington State School District, or School Directors Association. So
Yes.
it's a group of all of the school directors, people on school boards throughout the state, and administrators involved with that as well.
Yep.
So people in the public who may not be familiar with that acronym.
perfect.
Yeah, so similar to how we managed the General Assembly, we have a spreadsheet that lists WASDA, the organization itself, put out a suggestion of 60 or so. And so board members had an opportunity to go through in preparation for today's meeting, to go through and identify which priorities were important to them. So I'm actually going through as quickly as I can right now to tabulate, because sometimes we have very busy lives and we don't get to it until right ahead of the meeting, which is fine. So I can tell you right now that it's not looking like we have more than, the most so far is 3 commonly. So we can submit up to 10.
So you'll put all that together and submit. I
I'm
think it's
done
by
right
like,
now.
oh, okay. I think it's due by the
2, 3,
15th or something.
you guys. So there's 16 that got votes. And if you take out the outliers, that'll take us down to 14. So does anybody want to have a discussion around these priorities, or do you want me to just take the 10 that got the highest score?
I'm fine with
Because
it.
WASDA, let's go with the top 10.
Yeah.
WASDA itself did not need them in order. They just want the top 10. And then they will collectively look at all submitted priorities and then choose their top 3. Okay. Perfect. Okay,
Well,
I'll just take
Well,
the,
and some of those priorities are going to be fully funding education, MSOC funding, transportation funding. So a lot of funding things are typically in those priorities. But again, I think once we have ours all collective together, we'll can share all that.
okay, I mean, and they're due tomorrow, so I'll just get our 10 submitted and then I can send, do you guys want to report on what our top 10 are?
Just let us know what they are. You can
Okay,
email.
perfect.
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
get you out of here early enough tonight. You can finish it tonight.
Great, okay, sounds good.
All right.
Whatever, I got a lot of
Moving
Okay, I'm
along,
usually
reports and
the next one.
discussions. First up is capital fund budget and capital projects update. Dr. Brillhart and the one and only Mr. Ryan Jones.
Yes. Whoa.
He doesn't want to walk. He doesn't want to walk.
Walk through the.
Walk across, or walk in front of us.
Yeah. He's just visually inspecting everything on the. Yeah. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Fortunately for everyone, you're going to hear me speak less and Ryan speak more, so I will get right to it. It is our time of year. We're going to just review our current 25-26 capital fund budget and some projects that we have recently finished, and of course, some projects we have in the hopper. Just a reminder, purpose of this is, of course, to hit our strategic goal. The district's remain innovative, proactive, and accountable, of course. And of course, our boards do the information, again, ask questions, ask clarification. And then, of course, relevant to our role within the board, again, is to make sure that we have systems of accountability and also, again, obviously practice good communication, good understanding as we move forward with this. So, so just to kind of outline our presentation, we'll review our capital funds budget, which is the exact same presentation slide that I presented back in June. So nothing has changed, I can promise you that. We'll recap again some projects that we just finished up this year. And also, again, some projects that we have upcoming, and then obviously some major construction projects that we have in our foresight as well. And then also, we'll end the presentation tonight talking about kind of long-term major construction projects and future needs for the district as well. So just to review our capital projects fund, again, this is exactly the same slide that we presented back in June. So again, just as a comparative between 24, 25 and the current 25, 26 school year or budget year, I'm sorry. Again, the one thing I do want to highlight that you'll notice is because primarily we have our TriTech project going on right now, and it's one of those projects where it's fully grant funded that we have to spend money in order to get reimbursed. So because of kind of how our schedule is rolling with some of those major expenses, as you can see, our revenues for the budget year, we expect that to be short by the time we end the budget year, because again, we're going to be spending more money this time coming August and September, right before the budget year ends, because the project will be wrapping up then, and then we'll get reimbursed during the 26-27 budget year. So I would fully anticipate, of course, we haven't punched those numbers in yet, but I would fully anticipate, obviously, we're going to be getting more money in 26, 27 just because of a timing thing. But again, it's kind of in the wash to a certain extent, just because obviously, like I said, it's all reimbursable. So again, as Brian's going to point out today, that's our major project that we have going on, of course, right now. As I'm sure if you've driven down Kellogg and drove by, you've seen a big mess going on out there, and that means we have progress going on. So that's a good thing. So kudos to Ryan and his leadership and his team. So, but again, one thing I did want to note, is again, we will fulfill that $2 million transfer from general fund to capital projects. And again, the purpose being that transfer is to make sure that, again, we have enough revenues in there to offset any items that maybe we can't pay for out of like our tech levy, or possibly another grant or whatnot. And again, those are items that we obviously need to make sure that we continue to monitor and continue to maintain our facilities. I mean, we have an abundance of square footage in this district that we need to make sure that, again, we put efforts into and put resources into, and that $2 million transfer kind of helps us make sure that we accomplish that task. Any questions on this? Okay. Again, kind of a high level plan for some of our projects for 25, 26. So what I did on this slide, it looks a little bit different than maybe how it's been presented in the past. I tried to kind of summarize things into chunks. And as I noted up here, this is not all of our projects by no means. I just try to get the kind of the big hitters, if you will, and honestly just try to fit everything on one slide. So I tried to combine them and again, kind of categorically. So with exterior infrastructure, such as whether we're paving parking lots or we're doing roofs or whatnot, some of the buildings that we plan on trying to address this year, again, a lot of these are items that, hey, that roof has reached 18 years and it's time for a patch job or possibly a re-tear off or whatnot. A lot of these are just, again, they're cyclical type of things that, again, it's time to replace, time to fix. So as you can see, as of right now, and this number may change, because again, things pop up, but when we make this budget, of course, we make these plans, it is in the moment. So as soon as you hit save, it's dated, unfortunately. So again, we totally expect this to be flexible. So again, as of right now for exterior upgrades, we're looking at roughly about $250,000 in allocation for that. For just general interior infrastructure, whether it be replacing carpet, whether it be painting, lighting. Right now, again, we have an abundance of schools and in a lot of our facilities. Again, it's time, whether we're replacing carpet in 5 classrooms or 8 here or whatnot. Again, it's those things that, again, it's reached this life cycle, so it's time to replace. We're looking at about $315,000 for those items. Just general equipment, whether it's, we have identified that we have a box truck that I believe is 23 years old, I believe. So it's reached its, we're putting more money into it than what we want to right now. We do have a need for an additional forklift, dishwashers, kilns, and again, that's a total of about $150,000. Fencing, again, yes, sir.
Was the big huge freezer at the
Yes.
food services,
Mhm.
is that on there too?
So that is a repair that's technically going to be within the 25-26 budget. And it should be repaired by the end of, when was there was a delay on actually the compressor coming in. It was supposed to be done about 2 weeks ago, and I believe it's going to be finished about 2 weeks from now.
But that's on
I
the
believe. So
25.
It'll be in the
26,
25-26. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. So anyways, and that was one of those kind of surprise repair. We didn't really plan that. So it's almost like that's not really like captured on here because it's not a planned project, if you will. So, but I'm glad you brought that up. So, and just so the board knows on that topic, so of course we have two massive freezer units at our maintenance department. We are going to go ahead and hotwire to where, okay, if we need to get a mobile unit in, if we have to rent one, we can literally just back it up, plug it in, and we're good to go. That way we don't lose any product or anything. So that's something that Eric and Ryan and their team are working on right now. So it'll be a lot better in the moment. Again, it'll be easier to evade that emergency into the future. So, so fencing, of course, that's something I'm sorry.
Oh, just in going through this, I don't see one project. I know these aren't all the projects, but I want to make sure it doesn't get missed. We mentioned multiple times is that Kamiakin's field does not have a flagpole.
The main field, which field in
Their
particular?
main field.
Baseball
Their soccer
or-
field.
Their
Soccer.
football, the main field has no flagpole.
Okay.
So
Something that we brought up many times.
we talked about running.
I apologize. I thought
No,
that was
that's
taken
okay.
care of. So we
That's
will
okay.
get that taken care of. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. So, because I know there was something with LaPierre as well. And so maybe that was the confusion, but we'll get this taken care of. So thank you. Appreciate it. Fencing, of course, that's always, again, as soon as fencing goes up, that's one of those infrastructure points that people just don't think about. It's got a life cycle and, it gets blown over in the wind or whatever that may be. And again, I mean, not only that, but also increasing heights of fencing and putting in more gates or less gates or whatever that may be. So again, some of those items that we've identified there to total about 130,000. Yes, sir.
A quick question on the fencing is Washington had some gaps in their fence. I know we put a fence in. Is it all the gaps are closed and
Can't confirm
Ryan?
that. Nope, not yet.
Not
So,
yet?
right, Gaps at Washington.
And with that, I know in the discussion yesterday at the security summit, maybe if we could coordinate with or have police help show us.
I'll have some more information about that, Myron. Like on
Perfect.
the perimeter stuff. This right here, the fencing component, what I see is some of the things we've got a lot of perimeter discussion. So
Okay,
just,
I didn't know if that was part of that or different. Thank you.
so this,
Playground equipment, again, something that, again, has a life cycle. So we've identified about 3 elementaries that, again, it's time to whether we're talking about flooring or actual units themselves. That, again, research life cycle. And of course, $200,000, unfortunately, in today's market doesn't buy you a lot of playground equipment, unfortunately. So it's very expensive and it's just not getting cheaper, unfortunately. So technology, of course, constant upgrading servers, adding cameras, replacing cameras. Again, one of the things that, again, I forgot to mention too, so our technology levy, again, those revenues do fall within our capital projects because, again, they're planned projects within our revenue stream. So again, I want to make sure I highlight that. And again, we're assuming we're going to be having tech levy into the future. So again, we've already got that penciled in for 26, 27, 27, 28 as well. And of course, irrigation, that's one of those items that we don't really think about as being as imperative as what it is and as expensive as it is. But our grass is an asset. It's no different than the other exterior components of our buildings. And so we have a lot of pumps right now that are unfortunately just not meeting spec and meeting our demands because a lot of our buildings are community centers and they're open for 18, 19 hours a day. So unfortunately, when we're trying to water grass, we gotta water it now. We can't wait and have a larger schedule to try to accomplish that because unfortunately we got kids that are utilizing our facilities at all times, which is a great thing. This makes it challenging when we're trying to properly water our grass. So, but it's not only that, but again, we just have equipment that it's just reached its life cycle. And unfortunately, these are big ticket items that it's getting to the point where it's actually really impacting the functionality of some of our facilities. So, so again, that's what that encompasses. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan right now.
So
He's gonna
Tom,
talk
real
about
quick
a little
before
bit
you do,
more. Yes.
remind me, the money for these projects comes from a current bond? Is it bond?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay.
These are not bond projects. So if you go back to our revenue streams,
Okay.
as you can see, some of our revenue streams include investments. So
Okay.
if that would be interest that we've earned off of our checking account, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
Also, we have our tech levy in there as well. And then any surplus sale of items. So, every year, actually this year, we're actually going to have 2 surplus sales. So anytime we have that surplus, of course, we never know how much money we're going to make. I mean, we don't really do it to make money. We do it to get rid of things as well. So, but again, approximately about $500,000 roughly annually for that. And then, also, sorry, I'm trying to read this differently here. So again, any small capital project revenues that we have possibly coming in. But again, none of this is bond funded. None of this is. And then that $2 million transfer from general fund of monies that, of projects that aren't designed to be labeled and budgeted within the general fund. Like I said, that's why we do that transfer at the end of the year to make sure, again, we got enough revenue in there to make it. So.
Okay, I swear sometime this last school year that we had a presentation on a small, somewhere around $30 million that was left over from the bond that hadn't been spent yet. Is that correct? Does that sound right?
Yes, I don't have the exact number, but that's
okay.
So the bond that was sold.
Yeah,
no, I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm getting somewhere.
No, glad you brought it up. So
Yeah.
the bond that was sold, it was either in 18 or 19. I can't remember exactly when it was actually officially sold. Elementary school 18 that
Yes.
never got built, those monies are still here. We still have those.
Right.
Okay. So we don't really account for them like on this slide.
Right.
Because they're just sitting offset because we're not spending it, if that makes sense. So it's not
Okay.
really revenue and we're not spending it. So there's no point in having it here on this,
Right.
if that makes sense. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And then as far as the money that's available for capital projects, how much of it do we have that we haven't spent yet?
For elementary
Yeah, so you
school,
just
18.
showed us that,
It's
no,
roughly-
not, sorry, I know I'm being confusing, not that money for this right here that we have set aside for capital project funds. You just showed us a slide where we're spending this amount of money in each of these categories. Do we have money left? What I'm getting at is because we all have safety on our minds right now, and I'm assuming that we're going to have improvements and things that we want to make to our school, and I want to know where the money is coming from for those projects.
Yes. So currently right now, that $2 million transfer that we do from general to cap, that's basically our budget, if you will, for
Okay.
just annual scheduled project replacements. Okay. All right.
Okay.
That 2 million roughly. All right. Needless to say, the good thing about the capital projects fund is if you have revenues come in and you don't spend, that's okay. You get a little bit more flexibility than you do like in your general fund, for
Okay.
instance.
Yeah.
And that's not, really by design, but it kind of helps you if you want to plan accordingly. So that 2 million roughly is what we budgeted and what we planned for in totality, okay, for all of our projects. I think when I was looking at the spreadsheet the other day, it's like 1.876, I think was
Okay.
roughly there. Obviously, we've built in a little bit of flexibility there for anything that's outside of that. So,
Okay,
did I answer your question?
yes,
Okay.
for now.
So
We're going to have more on that.
Okay.
yeah, I was
that's-
gonna say, he's probably.
I know where you're headed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll be patient.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'll fast forward to Brian's slide. So,
Hey, Tom.
Okay.
Tom, just totally random, but there, I've heard a couple times and their technology was up there. And I don't know if we've fixed this or changed it or what, but the walkies and the radios or the cameras at Washington may not have been enough, or they were
For
like
years,
old and
it's been an
refurbished or something. Just on your radar, just
Okay.
something to,
Okay.
we may have taken care of it
I believe
already.
it's already
I don't
been-
know.
I believe it's already been taken care of.
Okay,
I'm
I just
99% sure of that, but I
Perfect.
will double check.
it was just top of mind, so thank you, sir.
Finally, Ryan.
Ryan.
Jeez.
Yeah. Evening, Superintendent Hanson, members of the board. So I'll be taking over from here. So just going to review some of the projects that we talked about before, but they've actually completed at this point. So we had our summer 2025 paving projects. So the big one there was Lamson Stadium. The west parking lot was showing some real signs of deterioration, big cracks that were basically beyond maintenance. And it is a very highly used facility. It is a community asset, something we are stewards of. And it was a well-timed project. In addition to doing the west parking lot, we also basically returned the north parking lot kind of to a serviceable state. Prior to that, it had been really just kind of a portable landing area. You know, Kennebec High was in there. They had 17 portables in there. We kind of went back to the drawing board up there, fixed the drainage issues we were having, as well as expanded the parking at Lamson Stadium, because if you've ever been to a game where we have two in-town high schools, it can get pretty busy. And we have been looking, it looks like it's getting used. So I think it was well worth the investment. And of course, if we have a larger school come in there where we have to bring temporary classrooms, we maintained all that infrastructure, we protected it. So basically we just open up a manhole cover and we have all our utilities and we hook up, and when that school moves out, we restore it to a parking lot, but really just trying to make use of that space at all times. For a long time, it's kind of been a no man's land. So, in addition, we did some repairs at Horse Heaven Hills on the parking lot along 36. It was showing, it was in kind of rough shape. So Horse Heaven Hills has been a target for the last couple of years, as far as just really just trying to do maintenance in certain areas, but then do completely new asphalt in others. For instance, the driveways, we typically redo those because that's where the majority of the vehicle abuse happens. You know, when you're actually in motion, the parking areas typically get more of just a seal coat, crack filler, because it needs less. But so we try to be conscious of that. We just don't rip up the whole thing. We try to do what needs to happen where. And those that was summer 25 paving projects. Another big project this summer, in partnership with ICCU, was of course the Lamson video board, which turned out to be a success. So looking forward to possibly utilizing that delivery method in the future to try and fund some additional scoreboards. Worked with the ICCU's general contractor, and very good to work with. The city was good to work with. It was really a success all the way around. So
Notice it kind of like cuts out sometimes. It goes.
Right. I know there was an issue when they initially started up, and it sounded like it was a processor issue, maybe on some of the what they're running it from. And I believe they've gotten that resolved.
Okay.
So, or at least I know from the first game to the second game, it was a drastic improvement. So that's something they are working on if they haven't fixed it already.
I would say, yeah, this was great. I've had multiple parents tell me how cool the board is. We appreciate ICCU's involvement, and really we'd love to see this in more places because I think it's really great.
Yeah, I completely
I've had great feedback from other people. Yep.
Fantastic. Glad to hear that.
The price was good.
What's that? Yeah, definitely. So that kind of sums up the big projects we had this summer. Kind of moving into some of the things that are in process or discussions we're having around our district. So this here is Southridge High School stormwater irrigation pond. The city has basically approached us saying we have some issues with drainage along Ridgeline Drive. Which is true. If you've been up there, that road is not that old, and they're already seeing a lot of deterioration because there just isn't really any place to go for the water to go. So they approached us because at one time we had been researching putting our own pond on that corner, so they were aware of it. So we've been in communication with them and going through kind of design, and ultimately the goal throughout this whole process has been trying to help out the city with their needs, but at the same time, really not changing the landscape of the southern part of our Southridge property there. So as you saw, it was going through the screen. It went from kind of a corner, basically a big pond in the corner, which we thought that wasn't ideal. We then went to basically an extended pond, which didn't take as much corner, but really was kind of maintain the grades there with an underground catch basin. And then this is kind of where we're at now. It's basically a corrugated metal pipe structure that's underground where the green is there. And it's very typical of what we have in our other sites. There's actually one just like this on our site already. And once again, the city, as they're designing this, their aim is so that when you go look out there, you don't really even see a difference. This is all underground, but it really hasn't impacted our site. Won't really be usable for a building per se, but we can obviously use the landscape for athletics and whatnot.
I have a question about this. I live
Sure.
right by this,
Mhm.
and I don't see this problem. like I drive on this road on Ridgeline Drive every single day. I do not see. I know that they. What was it, like 240 or 7? I can't really read from here. What's this say? 740? You know, on the bottom left corner.
Yes.
Right there.
the elevation.
That's where the issue is supposed to be, right? That's what they say right there is where the water fills up over the road or something.
Well, it's not only there, but it's actually, they're trying to capture water that even is further south on that roadway as well.
It's further south.
Yeah,
Along-
yes, they're trying to capture water kind
On
of
the south side,
for
there's
this,
another big basin.
for this region. It's probably a private basin. Are you talking about across the street?
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's a private one for that community there, and it deals with their water. It's not tied to the city.
well, either way, water flows into it, right? I mean, but I guess I don't really understand where the degradation is, where the problem is. So it's like, when you're asking, say, hey, let's go spend a bunch of money on this, I'm like, explain to me the problem again, because I don't really see it.
Well, let me start here. So one thing, this is a city-funded project. We would not pay this is not charged.
Okay. Well,
We're
that's
based,
a lot.
sorry, probably should have started there.
Yeah.
No, we're basically providing.
That's a big piece of
Yeah,
information.
Yeah, sorry, we're basically providing a site for them, a
Okay.
location, and then they're funding this. And, they've been really good to work with us. They've been really receptive to our concerns and our issues with the system they're designing. And
Okay.
They've actually gone through several iterations of design.
So they're paying for it, and it's gonna look the same.
Yes.
All right.
that is
The
what
only
we're going for.
downside is we would not be able to build on this area.
A building, yes. But really with the way the grades are
Yeah,
right there,
it's not-
you'd
you're
kind of
not
be building into a hole.
You're not building much there.
For us, the big thing, and speaking with the school, the mostly they kind of see out there is maybe some shot put lanes, something more of expansive athletic facilities, which really this wouldn't impact at
Yeah,
all.
okay.
So,
What Ryan mentioned earlier, we have this exact same system on the Southridge campus anyway, but kind of by the bus loop.
correct.
So if you're curious of what it looks like, just go by the bus loop and you're not gonna see it. So all you'll see is a manhole cover. That's it. I mean, it's grass, it's flat. We expect this to literally look exactly the same post-project. I mean, sure, the grade may change a little bit, but our biggest concern is just functionality as a district. We don't want this blocking, again, any programs that potentially the school wants to do. We don't want it to be a problem for our mowing crew. So that's a big consideration too. And gosh, I mean, I can't tell you how many hours we spend just thinking through everything. Because again, as Ryan said, we want to be good partners with the city. Obviously this is a community need, so we want to make sure that we're cognizant of that. But we also want to make sure it's not a problem for us in the future too. So, so I feel like, this is probably the best solution at this point.
You had me with, we're not paying for it.
Yeah.
It's gonna look the same.
Yeah, we won't
And-
do that.
And the timeline, it won't interfere with softball or
Well,
track.
We'll be sure to work with them. Yeah, that's always, where we start.
They were thinking next summer. right?
Yes, I believe so.
Right
Yeah.
around next summer.
And just to be clear on this,
Yeah.
we're certain this would not impact our field at all.
Correct. Especially the way the design is now, because they have a lot of the, I guess you could say, the service points just right to the immediately west of the parking lot there. The earlier iterations had them kind of in the middle of the field area there, and that was kind of a concern for us. So they moved them over to there more of in a non-use area. So.
Okay. Great.
All righty, moving on. This is a really exciting one. We probably talked about it a couple times, but it's actually happened now. So this is an addition of sidewalk on the west side of Conway Place, which is right across the street from Westgate and Keewaydin Discovery Center. So the sidewalk's in. They have not put in the flashing beacons yet. Usually those have really long lead times when they do these projects. So you can see immediately to the, I guess it'd be the right of the crosswalk there, you can kind of see where it's stubbed up. There will be one place there as well down on 4th and Conway. So really a great partnership with the city. This was actually something we approached them about after getting some feedback from Westgate Elementary School, and they immediately jumped on it and reallocated some of their funding that they had through a grant, and were able to make this happen for us. So this will be a huge step towards getting students safely across that street to Westgate and KDC. So
A huge fan with the flashing beacons, crosswalks. I know we've put some in recently over the years at other schools. Is there any chance we can continue to work with the city to make sure they're at all of our schools if we don't have them? I don't know off the top of my head, but I know we work with them. So
absolutely. Yeah, so those projects are typically Safe Walk to School grants that the city is very proactive about applying for, and they immediately reach out to us in that process as to try and identify. We don't get all the ones that are allocated.
Yeah.
We get, I think last time we got 30% of them, that they had actually planned. And they even had to reduce that number because of some inflated costs, and they made sure that they maintained ours. And so
Ryan, follow up on Gabe's question, and Cottonwood, Cottonwood's got got their whole parking, you know, I don't know what you call it, problem. And that's county, right? So that'd be working with the county in this similar thing.
We are. There's some grant funding that the county has secured that they're going to be doing some walkway on the west side of, what is that? The road escapes me, but it's west of the school.
Yeah,
They're going
I
to be
know.
doing some improvements there. So we've been working with them.
Yeah, sidewalks, but also like just like the traffic flow there, because there's a huge issue that.
Correct. We've looked at this.
I know,
a
I know,
lot.
100 times.
It is very problematic. There was that property to the east of Cottonwood,
Yep.
which we'd always kind of kept our eye on. My understanding that is now sold. It was just it was very expensive. It really wasn't.
Cost effective.
Exactly. And it really functionally, it was kind of away from the school. It really is just the only thing out there, but we're looking at some ideas for kind of maybe minimally altering some things, maybe in their main parking lot to try and to increase flow. We've talked about.
It's just the flow on the street. If we could just control
Correct.
the flow on the street and
Yeah.
have like a one-way circle.
Well, one thing else I'm
on the
talking.
west side.
One thing else I'm going to talk about the county is on that road to the west, we actually made our side of the road wider, but it was never really striped for it. So
Yeah.
the intent was to have cars be able to park on the side there
Which they do it.
and drop off their kids, but it was going to be more intentional. So that's something we're approaching them about. Like, hey, this is how we kind of designed it. Can we stripe this
Yeah.
and make it more intentional so that we can
Yes.
kind of get people out of the road, at least off the side, so that we can maintain traffic
Yeah.
along that. But I am fully aware. I've been out there to watch it and
Yeah, I feel like we need a solution. I mean,
Mhm.
other than having 100 aides go out there every single day and like guide traffic, like they're not traffic, that's not their job. So,
right.
I don't want, the teachers shouldn't be out there doing that.
Yeah.
We should-
No, understood. We are looking at it. All right, then this is just some other expenditures that'll be coming down the way. We have what we call our Iron Horse property to the south of the city there. And just as things start to develop out there, we'll start having to pay our part in utilities as they extend them to those locations. And this is another one. So Rich, you can see the blue line. That's a very rough layout of that road, how that's going to go in, just so you know. But essentially, they are punching that through Ridgeline Drive on the south side. It was originally supposed to be done when the school was built, but the city ended up postponing it. So now there's development happening to the south of Desert Hills. So of course, a road's going to go in. So we'll owe our portion of that road and the
50-50?
utilities.
Are we 50-50 until the blue line, as you go east, where does our 50-50 end?
It ends on our property line.
Right, okay.
Yes, we only pay for the improvements on our property line. One big change you will see out there is because the way the road, basically a road has two fixed points, where you're connecting to and where you're connecting to. And due to that, and how they're having to design that road, it is going to be elevated so that we will have a retention wall that will be going up to the south of the school there. Just
A lot of infrastructure there.
Yeah, so, but just putting that on your radar. That's just some potential costs that'll be coming down the road. This is a project for ECAP. It's at the Amistad site. So they have a real kind of unique challenge there as far as the size of their parking lot. They operate much different than, say, an elementary school because they can't simply drop off kids. They have to park, go and check in kids. So really we're finding there just isn't enough capacity there with the size of their program. So we are in the design process of a new parking lot to immediately be to the south of the existing one, which it's just right out here. So
It's right there.
yeah. So right now we're just in design. We're kind of shelving it, seeking funding sources, which I believe, if you want to speak to that point.
So ECAP, obviously they're funded from the state, does not count with basic ed allocation whatsoever. Okay, so part of their allocation is they get monies for capital improvement. Well, good thing with ECAP is they can roll them. They don't have capital expenditure this year.
Accumulate.
They can accumulate. Yeah. So this has been something that's been on their radar for probably 2 years at least. And so right now they do have enough funding, this expansion of this project. And as Ryan alluded to, their challenge is just a little bit unique because their parents, by ECAP rules, if you will, literally have to get out of the car, lock their students up, check them in order to be counted for that day of attendance. So There's no such thing as a car rider line. So, which it does create some challenges. So, so again, they've been good partners, obviously, with us. Needless to say, this will be an asset on our property, but if it does need future maintaining, again, as long as it remains an ECAP facility, we kind of ECAP funding, if that not touch our hoppers.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Why not? So, and thank you, Dr. Rohr, you said it much better than so yeah, one exciting thing about this project is it will be our first EV charging station because it falls under the new code cycle. So we will have an EV charger out there. So we got to kind of figure out what that's going to look like. But yeah, this will be our first one.
Okay.
Yes.
I have so many questions. It's okay. They're not important.
Okay. All right. So now everybody's favorite topic. So I'm glad to say, so we have this work scheduled for November 3rd to begin. Once again, as I've mentioned previously, we've really been targeting the right weather for this one because we'll essentially be losing cooling capacity. We'll be able to maintain heating, but cooling, because it's a completely new system all run across the roof, we will have to take that down. So of course, we're looking to be kind of into heating season by when we start this work. So we've got our design finalized, we got our contractor on board, and we'll be starting that on the 3rd of November.
So real quick, did
Wait.
we get the financing of this figured out?
We're working through that. So let me just say, we are compiling the history and, making sure that's in a nice little package. So.
Wait, this, okay, hold on. I want to make, this is our,
It's gonna be diplomatic.
no. This is our heating system?
This is our heating and cooling system. So what you're looking at there are the hydronic pipes, which provide.
Yes. I'm familiar with it, but I'm concerned that we're taking our heating system apart in November.
So heating is fine. So.
Sorry, I missed
Yeah,
that
so to
part.
kind of, I'll try to, so basically the building when it was originally put in, it had boiler heating
Yeah.
and RTU cooling. Now, when we did the major remodel a couple years ago, we went to chiller cooling, which is also hydronic. So it's run through these hydronic pipes as well. But since the infrastructure for the heating is in the building, we can maintain those lines. It's just these lines going across the top. The one exception being the addition, which is these pipes do feed, but we can supplement that. It's just that addition wing, and we can supplement that with space heaters or what we'll also probably be utilizing, the opening doors to let the building help take, share its heat load. So we can take steps for those spaces. So. But we won't have to buy heaters for, 60 rooms or anything like that.
So how long is it supposed to take?
About 6 weeks. That won't be a complete outage for 6 weeks. It'll just the duration of the projects. We're probably looking like a 2-week maybe outage where they actually have the lines taken apart and the rest of it's so there's some roof infrastructure work they got to do for the supports and things like that. So looking about 2 weeks of an outage, 6-week project duration. And that's really kind of on the conservative side.
Yeah.
And we're certain this is going to solve the problem. I know we've gone back and forth with this with engineers on what to solve the problem.
We've been working hard to make sure this is what's going to work. So we've pushed back on some of the earlier designs, based off of some feedback we've gotten from contractors who actually build them and whatnot. So there's been no lack of effort to make sure this is a one-time deal. And then at the bottom note, you'll note there, just before school started, we did one of the weak points was we did have basically the leak get worse. We did have to do a quick repair there. We basically replaced the seismic joint with a solid cast iron joint, and, to make sure we can maintain cooling in time for school to start. So they've been operational. Boy, I'll try to make this quick. Really dragging on here. TriTech Skills Center. So as Dr. Rohr mentioned, this is kind of our big our Super Bowl going on right now. So as you can see there, we have targeted completion for June, kind of early July, and then we'll begin moving into the TriTech there. Sherverdale Construction is the general contractor that is working with us on that project, as well as Alliance Management Construction Solutions acting in CM support. And of course, our architect is Design West. Some of the more recent activities. So this is kind of what it looks like. You see, we're getting into the infrastructure. their plan had always called for replacing some of the sewer, but we even actually ended up doing some, pilot or some exploration in some of the stuff that was set to remain. And we're really glad we did, because when we did it, we found out that, some of it was in pretty bad shape. So it gave us the opportunity while they're in the space to basically get all of that replaced, because it just wasn't going to make it. So the whole goal is to make sure this building lasts for 50 years.
Yeah.
So that was a suggestion that made by the general contractor. We, for very minimal dollars, we were able to explore and really probably save us money in the long run. So that was a success there. The roof has been torn off, and about half of it's back right now. We're going with a TPO roof, which is very typical around our district. And then, of course, if you were driving down Kellogg last couple of weeks, you probably noticed we were doing a sewer tie-in there for the new sewer. So that's nearing completion now. And they're actually today, at Friday, they'll start grinding up the west parking lot, the remainder of the west parking lot there. So if you'd ever seen one of those machines in action, I highly suggest you get out there. It's actually pretty cool to watch. They really make fast work of it. But other than that, the general contractor has been working great with the staff on site. TriTech's leadership team is excellent. They've been just doing a great job, whether it's standing up the temporary campuses or just kind of working in next to a construction zone. So, a lot of credit to TriTech and their team, Paul Randall. So, that's it. And then just real quick reminder, as it sits today in our 10-year facilities plan, these are the schools we basically targeted, in the near future, that if we were to do something, this would be the ones that we'd target.
I did have a quick question here. Washington's number 2. That's curious to me. Why Washington 2, Highlands 1?
I think if I recall, it had something to do with kind of the scheduling, the way that it works out, like how you can, because Washington, maybe we can build on site while school's in session, just if we change the footprint, whereas Highlands would be in Fruitland. So because we have one swing space, so if we're doing multiple projects at once, that's kind of the thought behind it.
Funding eligibility.
And they could be basically going on at the same time. That makes sense, because the middle school will typically have like a 2-year span, and elementary will have maybe 18 months. So they could be happening at the same time. So.
Any more questions for Ryan? Probably yes, but.
No, I'm good.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I apologize.
just kidding.
One more
Just kidding.
slide. So.
You're out of here.
Okay, so you did
Oh,
some
I
things
get to
that
spend a
are
little bit more time.
Thanks, Ryan.
with you guys. So, no, so again, just a reminder, obviously we have our EP&O levy. And again, just kind of maybe answer the question you were going to come up with. Our EP&O levy is not designed for projects, for capital improvements per se. It's to support programming that the state doesn't fund us through traditional basic ed apportionments. Okay. Of course, we'll be going after that EP&O levy come February. And alongside with that, contiguously, obviously, we'll be going after our tech levy as well, which obviously does pay for technology projects, whether it be cameras or servers or computers or whatever. So our bond measure, again, right now, we're kind of looking at softly probably mid-year 2026. That's when we're really going to have to get focused, because that's when, our first eligibility potentially will come up with SCAP funding. And of course, as we get closer to that, since it's such a moving target, because it changes year to year from the state, and really that pot of money is obviously funded within the biennium budget, which might be this big, so on and so forth. We really aren't going to be able to give specifics today until we get closer to that final date, when we know, okay, this is the time when we actually have to get our calculator out and actually do our numbers crunching. So really not a whole lot to do between now and then. But I would fully anticipate as we get closer to midsummer next summer, and especially as we get into August and definitely into September, that's when we're going to get more into the weeds of, hey, what's this look like for us in the now? Because of course we got to look at not only our square footage, we got to look at our student enrollment, we got to look at AB, and there's so many factors in there. It really is it's kind of not necessary to actually conduct that right now, just because you're not going to be working with accurate information. So.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you all.
All right. That wraps up capital fund budget and capital projects update. Thank you, gentlemen. Next up, K through 12 student goal report, student safety. Ms. Johnson, you are up.
All right, we'll try to be quick. Took a while on that, which was great. One thing we were going to start with is our vision and mission for the district. And then this is our presentation overview. We're going to be looking at number 2 and number 10 on our strategic objective, which is something that I know you guys wanted to know about. One thing is that this is under safe, known, and valued. So in March and April, we administer the district-wide annual survey to our 3rd through 12th graders. In May, they do a board report. And then in October, we do some highlight and strategies that we're using in our district. A couple of the presentation outline, we're going to be doing school improvement plans. I'm going to explain what that is and then how safe, known, and valued is on that. Comprehensive emergency management plan. And then our school safety and security personnel, I wanted to highlight a couple things on that. So one of our SIP plans, which I just wanted to show that under the action plan under safety and belonging, we do in each one of our school safety plans, this is Southridge High School, and I just use this one as an example. But if you look at it, it has actions to increase safety and belonging. We do data on each one of those, what a time frame, resources that we're going to use, and who's responsible. And those are on all of our SIP plans in all of our schools.
And each school comes up with their own.
Yes, and in consult with us. Yes, so they are in consult with the director of secondary, the director of elementary, which then comes to Lance, myself, Melissa. We all look at them, and then we get feedback and look at what their scores are in whatever area, and then we give them feedback on how we can improve or what another school is doing to improve. Yeah. This is the current status. 86% of the Kennewick School District students reported that they feel safe, included, and welcomed at school. This did not go up or down. This stayed exactly the same, but a lot of our schools did go up. A couple of the highlights is that at least one teacher or adult in my school that I can talk to if I have a problem at 89%, which I think is fantastic that each, 90% basically of our students have a relationship with our amazing teachers or a counselor or an aide or a custodian or a bus driver. Someone in our district makes a connection with them, and that all of the adults in their school respect me.
Real quick.
Sure.
My question is I know you said last year that at least one of these stats stayed the same. What previous years? I mean, I'm kind of curious, is this getting better? Are our kids reporting that they feel more safe or have more belonging? Or was it less, just generally speaking? Yeah.
I can look that up and then get back with you. I just know what last year's was, which was 86, and this year's 86. Yeah, but I can look at that from the last couple of years and get some feedback for you. This is just a percentage of our students who reported feeling safe, known, and valued, and the percentage that went up at all the different schools. We are going to highlight some schools on here. But I just wanted to show all the amazing work that different schools are doing to improve the safe, known, and valued, and the feeling that students feel in our district. So Desert Hills and TriTech, I just thought we would highlight a couple. We picked 5 schools, and the reason why I picked these schools in the K-12 directors meeting, we just decided that either they haven't been highlighted in a while and they are showing improvement, and what are they doing? So I reached out to the principals, and we just kind of work through and then try to find some common themes that we can talk to all of our principals about. Because I know when I first got here, one of the school board members said, we want to see what's happened. How can we move this on to the next school if it's a highlight at the school? So Desert Hills, I thought I would highlight that strong adult presence at all times with our teachers, counselors, staff, and admin. That was one thing that they really highlight. And TriTech has clear expectations. I know Lance and I, on our first day or second day on the job, we went to TriTech in the summertime, and we saw some amazing work from students, walked around. It was really, really hot for me. I'm from Alaska, so it was really hot, but it was amazing. Watching all the involvement, all the students engaged in learning. So it was really exciting. I was going to put a picture in there, but I didn't. I wanted to put some quotes from the teacher or from the students, their perspective. My teacher makes me feel safe and happy place to be. And I think that's important. Lincoln Elementary, the highlight is the student leadership. So they do Lincoln Leaders, the Safety Patrol, Marimba, the Breakfast Club. They do some other leadership for student level. Hawthorne does a relationship guide for every decision and action. And then they're also known for the Amazing Shake, which I've heard I'm going to love and I can't wait to participate in. Kennewick High, they're intentional about earning the trust of their students. And these are just some pictures from this year on different things that they're doing. We picked Kennewick High to go up 1%. Some common strategies for the schools is we just took all of the different things that people wrote in their SIP plans and what the schools that are showing an improvement, what they're doing. And one of them is the intentional relationship building that they have with students. They have clear and consistent expectations and student voice and engagement. Those are kind of the big highlights. So one of the things that K-12 is going to make sure is that when we're meeting with principals that we're talking about that this is how we can improve the student voice. The comprehensive emergency management plan is the next.
Sorry, real
Go
quick
ahead.
before you move into this one, I just want to plug out there. So for anybody listening or curious, the school improvement plans, your school is listed on our website. You could go review the school's individual school improvement plan if you want to look at your particular school. So just so people know it's out there. It's not anything you can't not find.
Yes, and they're one-page documents right now too on the website. Yep. All right, the comprehensive emergency plan. One of the things that we've been trying to do, which we are doing, is just clarifying our roles and responsibilities, and then providing consistent language and terminology for drills and procedures. That was one of the highlights from this year that we're really working on. One thing is that we have secure and teach, lockdown, evacuate, shelter in place, that they mean the same thing in every building. And that we're making sure that we go through our drills. We have fire drills every month and what that looks like. Do we have room for improvement? 100%. And we're going to be working on all of those. And then communication. That's another big ticketed item, is making sure that everybody that needs to know knows. I wanted to highlight school safety and security personnel, and I want to give a big shout out to Scott Childs. This is a student at one of our schools. This isn't his grandkid or anything, but I just love how he just jumps in when we need him. We have meetings every morning. If we need him at a building, we send him and he goes all day, has a smile on his face. He's a great liaison with our Ketchikan Police Department. I can't emphasize how amazing it is to have a great working relationship with our Ketchikan Police, or Ketchikan, Kennewick Police Department, sorry. It's the same KPD, same initials. Kennewick, thank you. Kennewick Police Department, we have a great working relationship, and it's really, really nice to get support from them. He facilitates a lot of our meetings. He has a ear in his ear. He knows what's happening. He knows how to speak their lingo. He knows what to tell us, when to tell us. We just really appreciate him, and I want to do a big shout out for him as a security coordinator. And then our school safety officers, I feel like this is a highlight as well. The safety officers are in all of our elementary schools, and their primary focus is to be a visible presence in our schools, to build a relationship and ensure safety for staff and students. And one thing I want to focus on is that they are KSD employees, but they are funded by an educational program and the levy. And so it's really important that we continue to have them. They're all retired state patrol, police department, and they go through rigorous training. I think we added it was over 500 years of experience through our SROs, our different organizations, which I think is really amazing. But I like the picture. The one on the right is, you can't really see it that well, but the one on the very right, he's holding an umbrella and bringing them inside the building. I think that's cute because I lived in a place where it rained 7 inches a year. We get 7 inches, or 7 inches a day. We get 7 inches a year here. So I think it's funny that he's walking them in and out. I thought it was cute. And then the Charlie's Angels one, I just think that's cute too.
Really quick.
They're engaged and they're working. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think our school safety officers do an awesome job. Quick question though, what is the feedback for evaluation? Is there a way that if parents ever felt concerned or had an issue with one of the SSO officers, or who do they go to? Do they go to KPD? Do they go to the principals?
Should be us.
They come to us and we do get different things that happen and we address it. So
When you say, so they come to like the.
they call usually down to district office. We have BJ Wilson who takes the call and then works with Scott Childs to work with that
Okay. So
particular
there's
person.
feedback loops so that
There's
if
feedback
ever there were
loops.
concerns, parents could certainly reach out to us and make sure
Yes,
those were addressed. Just
definitely.
making sure that the community knows who to address, whether it's KPD or us. So thank you.
Yes. And then this is just kind of an overall because it's a little confusing as someone that just got here. So we have school safety officers, which are in our elementary schools. Last year we had 8, this year we have 17. And then we have our school security guards, which are 1 in each middle school, 2 at the high school, 1 at Legacy. And then we have 8 school resource officers, which are called SROs. And each one of them are assigned at a middle school and a high school. So it gets a little confusing, but we have a lot of safety, a lot of security at our buildings.
Are the SROs paid for strictly out of KST's budget or are they?
That's a great question. I
50-50.
actually asked Tom that when we were sitting back there because I didn't know the answer. And he said, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but he said that we pay for 80%. Oh, never mind. Here he comes. I know it's a pass through. He's going to tell us.
Just the SRO who pays for it.
Yes, we get an invoice from KPD. We have a contract. Actually, the city is actually updating the contract. I think they actually did it last night, I believe. And so that contract will come to the board. It's just an update. It's nothing major by no means. So, anyways, we get an invoice from them quarterly. And technically we pay that, as I was explaining to her, I believe it's 80% of the cost of that employee on their part because they're only working for us about 80% out of the year. If that makes sense. So like, for instance, when they're not on duty here, but they're working the road, we're not paying that. Does that make sense? So, yep.
Okay, and they're the only ones we share the cost with, right? We pay for,
The other one's farm.
they're all our employees. So some of the feedback I've gotten from my texts and phone calls this afternoon from the Safety Summit was just, how do we add more SROs to the high schools? So that would look like more money from our levy to pay for the SROs and obviously subject to availability from the police force.
Report.
That goes again to this kind of that feedback follow-up types of things. The SRO conversation in itself has more capacity than it has like, could we add more SROs? Yes. However, I think on KPD side, like right now we have a vacancy that we're trying to split because they have to fill patrol first.
Right.
And then for us. So I think there's maybe a combination of ways that, because I don't think the question is, do we need more SROs? The question is, do we need more bodies that have that type of a skill?
Right. So
that could be maybe a combination of our elementary folks who have that skill in addition to that versus our other folks. So that's more to come. We're going to be putting a report together to the board that's going to be embedded in more of our levy conversation because that's a component of the levy. So in that levy, as we're starting to identify our needs and potential augmentation or enhancements to our needs, which fall into a security bucket, that will all be embedded.
Okay, great.
That's our cost, regardless whether they're employees or ours.
Right.
And then this is the last slide, but this is safety and security resources and supports. And this, we have some migrant counselors, school psychologists, school nurses, classified staff. And then our school counselors do amazing work in our buildings. And these are just some pictures of that as well. And that's all I got. I tried to make it informative, but quick. Do you guys have any other questions?
I have one quick budget question in regards to counselors, school counselors. It might be a Tom thing again. I can ask Tom. I'm gonna ask you offline. Don't worry about it.
All right.
I actually do have one question, if I may.
You can jump in.
I know that this was relative to the, I just clicked out of it. It was the student safety goal. We do have, and this is the last year's objectives, but we also have a staff goal where all staff members are safe, respected, and valued professionals. As a staff member now, I was thinking about what that looks like for our staff members, and I assume there's a report specifically for staff safety. But I was thinking about how in my internship, I'm not sure if there is a set safety plan or like a drill here at the admin building or even at our warehouse facility. I just wanted to ask about that.
Okay, well, we are working,
There is, you just haven't had a chance to participate yet.
and I'm glad to hear that you're on the payroll. Because you're excellent.
He's underpaid.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That wraps up reports and discussions. So we will jump into our superintendent report, and
Yeah.
you are.
Okay, thank you. I'll be brief. I think we've had a lot of great discussion about facilities and other components, and I think that those questions are pertinent. And as we're in the situations or the recent events, it brings more of that type of discussion to light. So that being said, the first thing is I have a follow-up. Melissa has, just real quickly on the parent, BJ has reached out to the parent from the last, we had a board parent who came and had a question about their availability to access their kids' games. So that conversation is taking place with that particular parent and also allows us the opportunity to see if we can have something in place for other parents who may find themselves in that situation. So we followed up with that. I want to make sure the board was aware of that. Okay. So I have the safety summit.
I'm just closing that.
Oh, thanks. I thought Alyssa was talking. My bad. We haven't heard from Alyssa tonight. So the safety summit, as Robin, we've currently taken all the questions that were submitted, and we have a document a document of that. We're going to be putting together, for lack of better words, like an FAQ, and those will be more in thematics because I don't know that, like, we have multiple questions that are centered around X. And so we'll create that FAQ and then a response to that. And we'll be vetting that through the board. And then we'll have the opportunity to vetting that as I want to make sure you're seeing those types of things first. Therefore, if they're like, hey, did we miss a component or something that we're hearing? And how do we vet that through that? And, or if that's a question of our community, doesn't mean it has to be excluded just because it wasn't asked there. In addition to that, my thinking was as we evaluate the success or the turnout or however you want to look at that meeting, as we continue our conversation with our community as we're leading up to our levy, as replicating something similar, not necessarily exactly like that, because that really centered around an event, but continuing the conversation about safety with our community at other two high schools. So maybe having an event at Kennewick High School, and that would be much different. It wouldn't have to be moderated, for example, and we would have maybe more of a presentation and then start taking feedback with our community, including our board members. Does that make sense? It's just a different tenor. The content's the same. Like having a conversation about safety doesn't end. It's ongoing and we learn. So just keeping that in mind. In addition to that, we had a debrief with KPD today, as well as the prosecuting attorney. So we had the opportunity to kind of sit back. What did we hear? And then as far as the process of that particular case and what that'll look like moving forward, communication's key in there. In addition to that, for lack of better words, that's a bad word to say, but I have requested, demanded a safety audit of every building we have in the district with a KPD lens. So that's going to be something that we're working towards. So when we start talking about fencing and all that other stuff, that's going to be folded into that report. And Ms. Gledhill will probably give you an idea when I go to all campuses. That's probably the first thing that I start talking about is safety, physical safety of buildings, access points. What does it look like and what does it doesn't? So we'll be folding that into the board and giving them updates on what that looks like and feels like. And then we're obligated to start putting dollars to that as well. And does that fit into our current ask or structure, or are there things that we need to adjust? So to me, those kind of conversations need to be hand in glove. So again, the safety audit, the Student Advisory Council, Diego did an amazing job of talking. I just wanted to reiterate that you have some amazing students in the Kennewick School District, and our opportunity to talk to them about, at the end, I thought it was powerful for us to just talk, and I wanted to hear what the kids, because ultimately the aspect of any event is all encompassing. It's not just adults in their perspective, because children will have a different perspective. One of them just said, like they're a Michael student, they're like, I thought it was a bomb thing, right? So I think sometimes we project ourselves on others, and I want to make sure I'm listening and hearing what that looks like and feels like for them. And our next meeting, I just made a note, I'm going to start asking them, what do they think about ways that we can augment safety from a student perspective? Like would they be in favor of clear backpacks, for example? Because sometimes, again, we project on them. Now, it doesn't mean that we back away from conversations. This is any different than cell phones, to me. Like, and I don't mean to exclude you, sorry, Diego. I like talking to people this way. Cell phones, like good, bad, what do kids think? But eventually we knew it was a need. So that was something that we talked about. So wearing I think there's some no cost things that we can do. And there are also some other things that we can discuss on what that looks like to make a long story short, but they need to be part of the conversation. They go to school every day. They choose or convince their parents to let them go or not as well. So they need to be part of that conversation. And I have an amazing group to help us facilitate that. Again, safety's ongoing. The WASA conference, just FYI on the travel part, I make sure that you're communicating with our wonderful Patty, because she's looking for that information on the travel piece. And so that's travel, meals. I would like for us to have one meal, and if you guys have some suggestions on what that looked like, and I have some other things I set up for us. And drum roll, we have. Okay, so we will be.
Oh, boy.
All right. Matching.
We'll be matching. So they're all here.
All right.
We pass those down. Okay. So we're going to be called, we call Brandon.
And Mike. You're gonna be.
I have to get, Diego. Micah. We're going to have him or the best one,
Is that what it is? Yeah, you don't want that.
or this one.
I probably have.
We got two about it. Diego.
It would look lovely.
Here, try that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So as
Oh, I
we
get
go
you.
to our events,
get
everyone will know who we are and what we're all about. Okay? All right. The last thing, I would like to just reiterate that if you haven't scheduled or have the opportunity to do school visits, I hope that it's valuable as we walk around and talk about the things, because as we have our discussions, I think we start having a foundation or a lens in which we see things. And I know that everyone's totally busy, but if there's something I can do to help facilitate yours and my schedule, of course, gets the way it is, but I enjoy walking or doing that. We have some additional things that we're expanding our lens from cabinet into our directors as they're doing some specific things and look for us. And I appreciate the group. And I apologize. I meant to just really give a shout out back to the Safety Summit to our staff, our assistant superintendents, Patty, Eric, our directors who came, the staff from Kamiakin High School. We had staff from Kennewick High School. We had teachers there. Just really appreciate their willingness to be part of that conversation and support that. So that's what I have.
Great.
We have homecoming stuff, like if you want to go to the Kamiakin game.
Really quick, just to circle back, I didn't know if you were going to cover it. We talked a little bit about the new websites last time and the high school calendars.
Yes.
None of the high school calendars are updated yet. So, for example, homecoming, like you said, is coming up. None of them have it posted online. If you go through, you could find that today was the PSAT, SAT provided in our schools, but it wasn't anywhere big on the opening pages.
Okay.
If we could really work on, I mean, we've got beautiful looking websites. Let's make sure the calendar is something that's right there so parents can get in the habit of going straight to the calendar
Okay.
and seeing what they need to see.
So, yes, I have seen communication in that regard. We just need to follow up. Like I've seen, Robin has already,
It's already.
I've seen that communication go out specifically. So thank you for the
We
reminder.
just make sure that gets updated.
Of course.
All right. Thank you. So that finishes off superintendent report. Next meeting agenda, first study session on the levy. Then our business meeting will be after that. Policy number 2310, instruction, selection, and adoption of instructional materials, YMCA, Children's Reading Foundation of Mid-Columbia, highly capable, career and college readiness, career and technical education, and an enrollment update. So we have no other businesses authorized by law, so we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.